Good evening, race fans, and welcome to round number 5 of the Team Goon Squad Formula One Challenge. We are here today in Austria at the Red Bull Ring. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here today. 1080p, 60 frames a second. I hope you all are excited and ready today for the 35-lap feature that we have for the start of today's event. Finley Fitzsimmons, though, going to be starting out in the front of the field in first place with Daniel Beauchamp in the 451, taking up second place, rounding out your first row. Christopher San in the 16, going to be taking third place. Jack Mundy in the 320, taking fourth place, rounding out your second row. Blaze Andrich in the fifth place spot. Tommy Joe Valenzuela in the sixth spot. James Silvers in the 17, and Matthew Taylor taking up 8th place here for the start of today's event. So, and as I have also been informed, there will be no safety cars, at least not a real safety car for today's event, as the race for Red Bull Ring was done on a holiday, as it was on Easter Sunday. So we had a few drivers not able to attend, as well as our safety car driver, Joseph Penn, celebrating the holiday, as drivers patiently await for the 5 red lights. And we will be racing here momentarily. You see everyone on a various set of starting tire here, and here we go. Drivers lighting up their throttles, and away we go. Right off the start, Finley Fitzsimmons, Daniel Beauchamp going to be starting off. Tommy Joe Valenzuela, though, right off the start, has an issue at the off the starting line, finds himself spun off into James Silvers. That's going to be a penalty between those two. Daniel Beauchamp, though, also having not quite the best start here to the race at Red Bull Ring. Finley Fitzsimmons able to get himself a nice little gap between the rest of the field here. Matthew Taylor looking at third place here, trying to get on the rear wing of Jack Mundy in the 320 machine. Matthew Taylor here doing a very good job of keeping up with the pace of the rest of this field here in Red Bull Ring. Not exactly an extremely long circuit here either, so these guys really not going to have a whole lot of time to really battle it out before we see, before I think we see these guys spread out pretty far and wide here at the ring. But here we go again down the front straight and across the checkered line. Finley Fitzsimmons still our race leader. Jack Mundy. Let's take a look at some of our race compounds here. Let's see where everyone's starting on. Finley Fitzsimmons going to be on the reds, as well as Mundy. Actually, that was Jack Mundy that we're looking at. Finley's going to be on those intermediate yellows. Just behind them, Christopher Pearson, as well as Blaze Andrich. It looks like all these drivers are going to be on those soft reds as well. So definitely a different contrast from what we saw at Daytona. Now, if you recall correctly, if you were not watching the race at Daytona, we did have a rolling start for that race, as I've been informed that if we were to have a standing start at the race, the cars would actually slide off the track because of the banking. I thought that was just a little funny piece of information that I had to share with the rest of you folks at home. But Matthew Taylor, in the 97 machine, currently tracking down Jack Mundy for that second place spot here, down the long straight out of turn 1. Here we go into the right-hander of turn 2, I do believe. And so here we still have Matthew Taylor, Jack Mundy. Actually, Taylor there for a moment, he was actually able to get himself around Jack Mundy there, as I'm looking for information to talk about here with the folks at home. But look at this field. Really stacked up nicely as we come down the final straight out of turn 10 into turn 1 here once again. Jack Mundy doing a very good job setting the example for the drivers behind him. You want to carry as much speed as possible through that turn 1, the Niki Lauda corner, as it is so famously called. And looks like Tommy Valenzuela had a little bit of an issue here. Didn't quite catch it here on cameras, but as we continue on with the race at this point in time, Finley Fitzsimmons with a very, very impressive lead here. Look at Jack Mundy. Collects into the back end of Matthew Taylor. Sends him spinning into the gravel. Oh my, folks. That's a rough way to get put out of a race. But Jack Mundy here in the 320 machine, back down into 5th place here as he drops down into the pits, assuming to get that damage repaired as well as get anything else on the car looked at. As Christopher Persson here works his way into turn 3 here with, it looks like Daniel Beauchamp on his inside. Indeed it is. It's the 451. Going to be duking it out here with the 16 of Christopher Persson. So we come into turn 4. Daniel Beauchamp, very, very good work staying on the inside, able to work his way around the 16. Very clean work there from Daniel. Let's see if he's able to continue it through Power Horse. Through this long kind of hoof section of the track. So here we see it again here, a 1 and 2 podium right now, as it looks like for Race Hub. This is definitely seems the trend here for Race Hub, as week in, week out, all 3 of their drivers have all done a very phenomenal job. And last week we saw Jack Mundy as well take his first podium at, I believe that was, give me a moment, Daytona. I knew it would come to me eventually. So looking right now, though, a lot of this action, like I was saying, folks, it's gotten very spread out very, very quickly. If we're looking at the track map, you can see just exactly what I mean by that here. As James Silvers looks like he has a bit of a problem here. Coming out of turn 4. Silvers found himself out in the gravel, but back out onto track. Not sure if there's any major damage to that 17 machine. I can't see any right off the bat here. It looks like he might be okay. but only time will tell, and we'll just have to keep an eye out and see exactly what unfolds here as the race progresses on. So a lot of our action here, again, pretty well spread out, and I expected that. Red Bull Ring, not the biggest circuit, but also just a very tightly packed section of turns, if you will. The lamest way I could think of to describe it. But Red Bull Ring, really, you got two really long, fast straights. One of them's kind of looks like someone tried to draw a straight line on a piece of paper, and they just said, that's fine, we'll go with that. Yeah, so, we got these two long straights, and then we kind of have a little third one, maybe even a fourth one there, if you consider that a straight. And then you have this horseshoe section, just kind of dead smack in the middle of it, which it takes a lot of time to really get that section down to perfection. It's not the easiest to maintain your speed, to keep that pace going. Let's actually ride on board here. Let's ride on board with Daniel Beauchamp, and let's have a lap around, and let's just see exactly what it takes to be fast here at Red Bull Ring. Daniel Beauchamp here, obviously one of the fastest drivers here in the series, and really it's just impressive watching Daniel take it around the circuit here at Red Bull Ring. He's doing a very fine setting a fine example for the rest of the field here on hitting your marks perfectly, hitting your braking points, not overshooting them, or not undershooting them as well. Just really taking that pace time and just smacking it right at the top of the grid here. Just doing a fantastic job week in, week out. So great to see the 451 on the team of Race Hub Motorsports. Definitely a great driver to have in your team here. But as we continue on, though, it's actually the teammate of Daniel Beauchamp, Finley Fitzsimmons, who holds the lead at this point in time. So got to give credit here to Finley as well. An excellent driver here in the series as well. We've seen Fitzsimmons have some pretty close battles here with Daniel Beauchamp, and if I recall correctly, we did come to the ring, the Red Bull Ring, for the first season of the Formula One Challenge, and I gotta say, it was some pretty close action between Fitzsimmons and Beauchamp at that race as well. Both of these drivers here, they know how to get their way around Red Bull Ring. There's no question about it. And for the rest of the field here, it's just a matter of what can I do? What do I need to do to be able to stay fast here on this circuit? And a lot of the other half of the problem really lies in, this is an open setup race. For those of you at home that might not be familiar with the iRacing service, there are two types of races that you can essentially host or race in. You have your open setup and you have your fixed setup. Now, open setup being you can modify basically whatever your heart desires on the car. Within the extent of the options given to you, of course. This allows a lot of different changes for drivers to make to their car, makes it a little bit more comfortable for their driving style. They can make it a little bit looser if they need to. They can make it a little bit tighter if they need to. Just depending on what their style is, how they feel the car needs to drive for whatever circuit that they happen to be driving at. Now, a fixed setup series is exactly the opposite of that. It is exactly that. It is a fixed setup series. So when you arrive at the race, you are given a car with the exact same setup and tune as every other car on the track. There is no differences except with the difference of your brake bias, steering ratio, and I'm not exactly certain if there is another option or two on the Formula One cars, but I do know that if you are in something like the Dallara IR18, the Indy car, there is a third option for the weight jacker as well. That allows you to shift the center of gravity on your car and allow you to basically get it on those banked ovals a little bit faster, a little bit tighter. So, with that out of the way, folks, a lot of this racing here has been fairly calm, very, very steady here in these really last few laps here. Finley Fitzsimmons, still our race leader. Daniel Beauchamp in that second place spot here at this point in time. As we still continue along here, Christopher Pearson coming down that first long straight here, quote-unquote straight, into turn 3 here. So a lot of this action has pretty much fallen to about where I expected it to, as we reach the halfway, or just about the halfway point here in the feature race. With everyone on these, mostly everyone here, on these soft reds as well. I'm going to be curious to see who is going to come down into the pits. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say I recall Finley was on intermediate yellows, or am I just imagining things? I might just be imagining things. Anyway, anywho. Finley Fitzsimmons here has done a phenomenal job leading this race here. Daniel Beauchamp trying to catch up to his teammate here, just about 8.5 seconds separating these two drivers as Finley Fitzsimmons works on some lap traffic here. That's going to be James Silvers. Going to be looking like he's trying to find a spot on the track to let the leader on by here. I'm not exactly so. Ooh, whoa. That was very close there from Finley Fitzsimmons and James Silvers. They almost came into contact with one another. Not exactly certain what that was for. And here we got a few drivers down here in the pits, all stacked up on one another. Currently we're locked on Blaze Andritz, just smack dab in the center here, with Jack Mundy just up in front and Tommy Joe Valenzuela in just behind them. But it looks like they are going to be stuck in there, not moving, not going anywhere, as Christopher Pearson actually is going to come down into the pits in the number 16 machine. You know, and one of my favorite things about this series as well is kind of guessing what drivers' paint schemes are trying to mimic or model. It's kind of my own fun personal little game that I like to play, where I guess which race car, which Formula One car are they actually trying to go for here. And I think Krister here is going for an AlphaTauri scheme here, and that's actually that almost seems a little bit fitting, given that we are here at Red Bull Ring, and there is a giant AlphaTauri banner that we just passed under just a few moments ago. So, that's fitting. I think we're going to stick with that, even though I'm probably 100% incorrect on that one, as the last time that we made that assumption with Blaze Andrews, who we thought his paint scheme kind of modeled that of the 2021 Haas paint scheme. But as I was informed, that was incorrect. But that is a-okay, though. As per the agreement between iRacing and the Mercedes Formula One team, excuse me, my brain had a moment. These cars are meant to be left the way that they are, with the exception of the color changes that you can make to it. But this is not your average car that you see in the iRacing service here, as Finley Fitzsimmons comes down into the pits very, very quick, though. Oh, that almost looked like he was going to catch a speeding penalty, but very good work there from Finley, making sure he gets on that pit limiter before he comes across the line there of the yellow cones. But that's going to bring Finley in on lap 18. Let's see here. It's actually Daniel that started on the intermediate yellows. So, personally, I think that is a very clear team strategy right there. Having one teammate start on those soft reds, you're able to get a lot of pace, able to keep the front of the field pretty much locked in place, while you have another driver start on those medium compounds, able to stay out a little bit longer, so that way when the leader does have to come down into the pits, you're not sacrificing that lead simply because you didn't have anyone out there to defend that position. Now, there's probably could be a couple other different theories or thought processes that I'm sure these guys have gone over and have considered, but currently, as it stands, these guys are all racing incredibly well, and given how much distance is between these guys, I don't think there's really a whole lot to worry about right now for any of these guys. I think at the end of the day, a safety net is a safety net, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing here with Daniel Beauchamp of Race Hub Motorsports, staying out just a little bit longer than his teammate Finley Fitzsimmons, who's actually already made his way back out onto track. And look at this, going to be on those intermediate yellows here to finish out the race. So I'm going to have to assume that once Daniel decides to come back down into the pits, he's going to be changing to those soft reds, unless he throws me a curveball and decides he wants to go on to the hard whites, which I would have a little concern with, not gonna lie, but we'll have to keep an eye on that and see exactly what happens here. Lap 19 of 35, just over the halfway point through the feature of today's race here at Red Bull Ring for round number 5 of the Team Goon Squad Formula One Challenge. So not sure who that was. I heard somebody. Oh, James Silvers. I knew I heard somebody have a moment here, and it looks like Blaze Andrews also had a moment on the other side of the track. So here he comes, Blaze holding on to that 6th place spot here as he comes out of, I believe this is turn 10, indeed it is, and down the final straight and across the checkered line here. That's going to bring us lap 20 of 35 here thus far. Daniel Beauchamp still out in front and still has to come down into the pits here before the end of the race. And here he does, right as I was saying that. He's going to take it down into pit road and get that new set of tires that he probably is maybe not too desperate for, but can probably definitely feel the tire wear starting to affect him. Maybe just a little bit here. As he's up and down and back, away we go. Back out onto the track here at Red Bull Ring. Oh, no. I think there might have been a mistake here on Daniel's behalf. Daniel here is still on those intermediate yellows. Now, it could just be a case that iRacing hasn't updated it correctly on my screen here. He's going to pass by pit road here as well. I'm not... Maybe he didn't notice? I'm not too certain here. We're going to have to keep an eye on that and see exactly what happens here for Daniel Beauchamp. As Christopher Persson in the 16 machine holding on to third place. With, looks like Blaze Andrich just behind him. Down a few laps here, actually. Blaze, one of the drivers that had an issue earlier on in the race, and look at this. Still having some struggles here and there as it comes out of turn 1 and down the long straight into turn 3 here. Trying to stay right on the tail of Christopher Persson, but Blaze Andrich still one of the new drivers here in the series, among others. Still getting a feel for the car, getting an understanding of how to keep these machines, these absolute monsters of race cars underneath them. But Blaze Andrich not all that ill familiar with fast race cars, as he is quite the driver in the IndyCar as well, out on the oval courses. So definitely not going to be someone who isn't familiar with speed by any stretch of the imagination. But I can assure you that those IndyCars don't turn into into these turns quite the same way that these Formula One cars do. The speed at which these cars are able to head into a turn. I mean, right now we're looking at Daniel Beauchamp here. Let's watch here as he comes down. I believe this is turn 4. Nearly 160, 180 miles an hour. So out of turn 10, I was a little bit behind there. But going into turn 1 here, Daniel Beauchamp, 130, 120 miles an hour through a almost 90-degree right turn. Going into turn 3 here, this is where you really slow down, all the way down to about 50 miles an hour. And here, I can actually give you guys a little bit of a better idea of how fast these cars actually are going here. So on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, you can get a little bit of telemetry here from Daniel Beauchamp here as he works his way around the circuit. So he comes out of turn 4. We're going through the power horse section, the hoof, as I like to call it. Look at that, 230 kilometers an hour. And almost 200 miles an hour going into turn 9 and 10. Just absolutely impressive here. And Daniel Beauchamp continuing to set off the fastest time of the race here. Let's take a look at some of the best times that drivers have set for the session here thus far. As Matthew Taylor has a little bit of trouble, sends it back down into the pits, and you can see those 4 cars all piled up down there, collected from incidents one way or another. But look at this, Daniel Beauchamp with a 105.173 as his best time here, and Finley Fitzsimmons just in front of that with a 105.423. Excuse me, just behind that, not in front. You know, it's just very interesting to see the differences between pace for a lot of these drivers here, and these are all the same car fundamentally. You know, with the exception of the changes that drivers might make to the car to make it drive a little bit more how they want it to. Again, going to that discussion we had a little earlier, it's just very interesting to me to see how much changes driver to driver. It's always a very interesting to see how much can change between them. But what's even more interesting is how little even time can be separated between them. I mean, we're looking at almost a second of a gap between most of our drivers here. As far as lap times are concerned. Actual gap times, a little bit of a different story. Daniel Beauchamp actually just about almost 5 seconds behind Finley Fitzsimmons, but catching up rather quickly here. As we're on lap 26 of 35 here. So it won't be too long, and we'll see the end of the feature here at Red Bull Ring, and we will move into our sprint race. 17 laps that we will be doing for, 18 laps that we will be doing for the sprint race here at Red Bull Ring for round number 5 of the Team Goon Squad Formula One Challenge. We're going to take this moment here. We're going to ride on board with Finley Fitzsimmons and take a lap around here with the number 6. Watching just a moment ago, Finley Fitzsimmons came off track there, coming out of turn 3, able to keep it together, and ultimately retain his lead here as we're watching Blaze Andrich in the 19 machine come across the line. Blaze had an issue just a moment ago. Not exactly sure what it was here, but able to keep it on track here nonetheless. Out of the 8 drivers that we've had show up here for the race, only 5 of which are still out on track at this point in time. lap 30 of 35 here, just 36 laps before we see the checkered flag fly here. And right now what I'm looking for, what I'm kind of seeing right now develop is Daniel Beauchamp, Finley Fitzsimmons, both going to be reeling in to each other here fairly soon. And just based on timing right now, Daniel Beauchamp is looking like he's going to catch up to his teammate here before too long. Right now, only about 2 seconds separates the two drivers. And as we go into turn 9, not a turn 10. I'm very curious to know if Daniel here is going to catch up to his teammate and make that pass here before the end of this feature here. Now, Race Hub still going to have the top two. Going to have the podium for today's race, regardless. Now, unfortunately for their third teammate, Jack Mundy, he is going to find himself out of the race since lap 12. And that's got to hurt for Jack, you know, especially having the success that he saw from Daytona at last week's race. I'm sure Jack has got to be feeling a little not too enthused about the results of today's race here. But nonetheless, Daniel Beauchamp, Finley Fitzsimmons, both going to be 1 and 2. Still for this race here, and that's got to be a great win for Race Hub. Lap 32 of 35 here, folks. You know, a lot of this action here, again, really has settled out. There's not a whole lot gonna be happening here in these last few moments. Now, we very well could see someone spin themselves out, crash, or really just make a crucial mistake and change up something here. But a lot of these drivers here have looked fairly calm, fairly steady going into the final half of this race here. So lap 33 of 35. Just a few laps left here to go. Finley Fitzsimmons having done an incredible job here in this lead. Look at Daniel Beauchamp starting to reel in his teammate. As looks like Blaze Andrich had a moment here. Looks like he was going to find himself, I believe that was turn 7 and 8. Yeah, I think that was definitely somewhere around that margin or neighborhood. But Daniel Beauchamp here starting to reel in his teammate as we took a moment to take a look at the issue there with Blaze. But Daniel right on. Pretty much right on the rear wing here of his teammate Finley Fitzsimmons. Fitzsimmons almost, that looked like a heck of a snap there from the rear end of that 6 machine. But Daniel Beauchamp here continuing on the charge here, trying to get himself as close as he can to his teammate. Just 2 laps left to go here, just under 2 laps left to go here before we see the checkered flag fly here at Red Bull for the feature of round number 5 of the Team Goon Squad Formula One Challenge. Stay on board here with Beauchamp. We go into turn 3, very slow corner, and it changes too. Just you can see how it dips, and whew, that's a wild turn. I've definitely spun myself around in that section of Red Bull more than once. I apologize if I'm quiet here, folks. I'm just appreciating the driving of Daniel Beauchamp here, trying to keep on the tail of Finley Fitzsimmons. A couple mistakes there, ultimately finding himself falling back here just a few tenths of a second. But here we go. It's the white flag. And as the checkered flag flies across the line, Finley Fitzsimmons taking home the win. Daniel Beauchamp in second place. Christopher Pearson in third. Here are your official results for the feature. Finley Fitzsimmons taking home first place. Daniel Beauchamp in second. Christopher Pearson in third. Matthew Taylor in fourth. Blaze Andrews in fifth. James Silvers in sixth. Jack Mundy in seventh. And Tommy Valenzuela in eighth place. That is going to conclude our coverage for the feature race. And we are going to take a quick commercial break. And when we return, we will have the race, the starting grid for the sprint race. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we will be back for more.
For driver Carrington, it's dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.
And welcome back. We have the starting grid here and ready for us for the start of our sprint race. We are actually going to have to do things a little bit backwards here, as per usual. So, as it would look like here, it looks like we have Tommy Valenzuela starting off in first, Jack Mundy in second, as we have our driver's kit ready to start up here. We'll have to get our grid taken a look at here after today's event. But Tommy Joe Valenzuela with a little bit of a rough start here, not quite able to get the launch that he was looking for. Finley Fitzsimmons able to take advantage of that here. Look at these drivers. Oh, no, Blaze. No, who was that? That was Christopher Pearson, excuse me. A little bit of a moment there as we come through turn 3. A lot of our drivers looking fairly clean here. Fairly consistent on the opening lap of our sprint race. 18 laps that we're going to be completing here. James Silver's a little bit of contact possibly. Oh, big contact between Matthew Taylor. James Silvers. Oh, wow. That was a rough contact between those two. But it looks like we're still going to keep racing here. No safety. Nope. I stand corrected. There it is, the yellow caution. And there goes the safety car making its way out of the pits here. You can see the leader, Finley Fitzsimmons, slowing down. The rest of the field. Oh, that was close. That was very, very close. Alright, so as we get the field lined back up, drivers getting those tires warmed back up here and ready to go for the next restart here. Oh. So this is one of the disadvantages, I would say, of having the iRacing safety car versus our usual safety car driver, Joseph Penn. The iRacing safety car does not usually account for the speed of the Formula One cars here. Normally, and I'll have to double check this to make sure of that, but normally, when the safety car is out in real life in the Formula One races, I believe there is a minimum speed that the safety car must travel. And I don't remember what it is exactly, but I believe that this is far below that minimum speed, as currently we're traveling at speeds of about 60 miles an hour or so. As drivers make their way down the pit road, are actually going faster than the drivers out on track at this point in time behind the safety car. Just a little bit of an interesting piece of information there. Alright, so the lights are off on the safety car, so that would indicate that this time around we are going to see that safety car drop back down into the pits, and with when we come across the line, it'll be lap 4 of 18 here. And you can see the field all eagerly getting those tires warmed up and ready for the restart here. I still think it's funny that we're going around track slower with the safety car than if the cars were to just go down pit road. That just gives me a little bit of a chuckle here. And there you see the safety car down back into the pits. Out of turn 10, down the final straight. There's the green flag. And we are racing here once again at Red Bull Ring for the sprint race. Round number 5 of the Team Goon Squad Formula One Challenge. Out of turn 1, everyone's looking fairly calm. This restart, look at Tommy Valenzuela trying to give Daniel Beauchamp a little bit of a run for his money here. Actually, that's Jack Mundy in second place. Daniel Beauchamp making his way around Tommy Valenzuela now. Look at this, folks. A race hub podium, if I've ever seen one. Finley Fitzsimmons up in front. Jack Mundy in second. Daniel Beauchamp in third. It is a complete podium lockout. Here we go, Daniel Beauchamp now going to be challenging his teammate. Tommy Valenzuela tried to give Matthew Taylor a little bit of a challenge there. I don't think it quite worked out for him. As Daniel Beauchamp now takes second place from his teammate, Jack Mundy. Now Jack Mundy here is going to have a little bit of work ahead of him to be able to hold that third place spot here. Let's see if he's going to pull it off here as Taylor runs down. Out of turn 3, right on the tail of that 320 machine. DRS is open, I do believe. We head our way into turn 4. Got to keep it careful here. Very easy to lose your grip as you're coming out of 4 there, but very good work from Matthew Taylor, able to get himself around Jack Mundy. That was clean racing from Mundy and Taylor. As Tommy Valenzuela now gets on the bumper, or rather the rear wing of Jack Mundy here to battle for 4th place. Oh man, look at that. Fitzsimmons setting the fastest time so far though. The 105.332. Tommy Valenzuela is still trying to stay with this pack in front of him. Jack Mundy, DRS is open in. Oh, going into 3. They almost touch wheels. Very close between these two drivers. Taylor able to stay out on top of that. DRS is open again on Mundy as we go into 4. And here we go through the hoof. Matthew Taylor looking very smooth, very consistent here. When there's only 18 laps here in this sprint, consistency is going to be key. You're not going to be coming down into the pits. If you find yourself down enough time, it's going to be almost nearly impossible. Look at this. All 3 cars behind Taylor. DRS open on all 3 of them. Here we go again. Mundy. DRS open here again. Tommy Valenzuela. Krister Persson. DRS open on two of those cars as well. Into turn 3. Mundy. Oh, a little bit of a lockup from Taylor. Keeping it together. That's going to give Mundy a little bit of an opportunity to catch back up here to the rear end of Taylor. Let's see if Mundy's going to be able to reel in the 97 here. Mundy still has that pressure from behind of Tommy Valenzuela, and just behind him, Krister Persson. Oh, here's the challenge from Valenzuela. That forces Mundy wide out of turn 9 and into 10. Down the straight line here, the final straight. Krister Persson right on the rear wing of Mundy into turn 1. They wheel to wheel. They almost touch. Mundy trying to stay with Krister here. DRS is open on both of these cars. So we head into turn 3. Mundy gets into the rear end of Krister there. Doesn't look like anything else came of it, though. That almost seems like the front wing of that 320 of Jack Mundy could have been lost there, but able to retain it. But there's definitely still a little bit of damage there to the front end of that 320 machine. But back up front, meanwhile, Finley Fitzsimmons still the race leader. Daniel Beauchamp in that second place spot and doing a fantastic job here as well. Matthew Taylor, after successfully getting himself around Jack Mundy, Tommy Valenzuela, as well as I believe Krister Persson. He's up here in third right now and starting to increase that gap between himself and fourth place, Tommy Valenzuela, who's just behind him with about 2.5 seconds separating these two drivers at the moment. So Jack Mundy with a little bit of an incident here just a moment ago. Mundy's going to call it a race and take it behind the wall. He's done for the night. Krister Persson here works on the rear end of Tommy Valenzuela into turn 3. Almost a little bit of contact there. Valenzuela still sticking right on the rear wing of Krister Persson here. Let's see if we can ride on board here with Tommy Valenzuela for a few laps, or for a lap, and see if see what we can see here from the 21 machine's perspective. Just saw that pass a moment ago from Tommy Valenzuela around Krister Persson. That was a smooth move from the 21 operator, Tommy. Tommy here doing good work as he works his way out of turn 10 here, down the final straight and across the line, bringing him to lap 12 here of 18. Just about 7 laps left to go here before we see the checkered flag fly for the sprint here at Red Bull Ring. The battle continues here for 4th place between Tommy Valenzuela, Christer Persson. Christer trying to find some pace here in the final few laps to see if he can't reel in that 21 machine. So here we go. There's another battle. Christer Persson going to be right on the inside of Tommy Valenzuela into turn 4. Christer with the pass into 4th place. Tommy Joe trying to set himself up here, going into the hoof. Not quite going to be able to make it work this time around. As Valenzuela tries to stay on the tail here. Valenzuela with that DRS wide open here. There he goes again. DRS is open, heading into turn 3. Tommy Joe overshoots. Sends it spinning around here. Out of turn 3. Valenzuela, that's going to be costly for that 21 machine as Silvers now passes him for that 5th place spot here. But I don't think it's going to be too long here before Tommy... Yeah, there he goes. Silvers not able to hold on to it going into out of turn 4. Ultimately going to be giving that lead back up to Tommy Valenzuela here as we continue on with Christer Persson, who's able to take 4th now. So Finley Fitzsimmons here with Daniel Beauchamp in 2nd place, both with Race Hub Motorsports. Here on lap 15 of 18. Just a few more laps to go here before they secure the win once more for the race here at Red Bull Ring. Oh, no, Finley. Out of turn 1, he snaps it sideways. That's going to give up the lead here to Daniel Beauchamp. So Daniel now going to be in 1st after his teammate Finley Fitzsimmons out of turn 1 here. Had a little bit of an issue. Man, that's got to be tough for Finley. But again, when you have, your teammate kind of holding off 2nd place, it really plays in your favor when, you know, you're kind of able to just take up that position and you might not be taking home the win per se, but you're at least going to be coming home with a podium. As we come across the line, lap 17 of 18, just 2 more laps left to go here at Red Bull Ring. Here we go across the line. It's the final lap here at Red Bull Ring. Christopher Pearson there just had a moment as he came out of turn 10. Looked like he might have found himself a little bit of a moment there, but Daniel Beauchamp, Finley Fitzsimmons, both of these drivers looking like they're going to take home first and second respectively, assuming both goes well here for both drivers. As we come out of the final turn and down the final straight, Daniel Beauchamp's going to come across the line for the win for the sprint. Finley Fitzsimmons in second place. Matthew Taylor coming across the line for third. As Christopher Pearson works his way through the final bits of track, he's going to take home fourth with James Silvers just behind him in fifth place. Tommy Valenzuela taking home sixth, Jack Mundy in seventh, and Blaze Andrich in eighth. Well, that is going to conclude our coverage today, folks, of round number 5 of the Team Goon Squad Formula One Challenge. I hope you all enjoyed, and I want to thank you all for watching. Hit that like button if you did enjoy the race today. Subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here today. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.